Well, the Raging Thirst is back ready and refreshed. Back home in Adelaide. My girlfriend's gone to Sydney on an evening plane. Once she sees those city lights, she won't be back again. And from the airport lounge, I can see the town skyline, see the hills in the distance, and it feels like you in time, 'cause I'm back home in Adelaide. Yes, I'm back home again. My sister's gone to Brisbane, her husband's gone to Perth. I get a postcard of London from a friend at work. All the kids have gone to Melbourne to kickstart their careers, 'cause the part-time job in Kmart is all we can offer here, while I'm back home in Adelaide. Yes, I'm back home again. At 6:15 every morning, 2 jets fly overhead. They're bound for the eastern states and they get me out of bed. The sound of people leaving is the sound that starts my day, and it always starts me thinking it could be me again someday. But I'm sitting in the sunshine in my big backyard, eating peaches from my fruit trees, and leaving just seems too hard. While I'm back home in Adelaide. Yes, I'm back home again. Oh, I'm back home in Adelaide. Yes, I'm back home again. Yeah, doing a few songs about Adelaide to start the set. And, you know, when I go and play interstate and all that stuff, quite often the people will say, when I'm doing my tours, my stadiums tours of California and things, they say, what's the music scene like in Adelaide? So I have to say, well, this is what would have happened if Bob Dylan was born there. Bob Dylan was born in Adelaide in 1941. He went to Unley High School, but he never got along. Not exactly unpopular, just a little strange sometimes. He excelled in English and liked to talk in funny rhymes. Once he wrote a song, somehow blowing in the wind. Then he went to teachers college and didn't play much again. Well, Bob met Mary Lennon at a protest rally. They bought a brick veneer down near Happy Valley. Bob got a job teaching poetry to teenage Catholic boys. He was ideal for the job, immune to all the noise. Mary thought Bob's voice was awful and encouraged him not to sing. She said, Bob, take up photography. Music's not your thing. Well, Mary Lennon's brother lived in Maylands. His name was John. He was a bitter, twisted cynic, and they never got along. He drunk himself to death, working in the public service. Bob and Mary were alone at his funeral service till it was nearly time to go, when three blokes showed up and introduced themselves as George, Paul and Ringo. Teaching, Bob finally called time. The staff took up a collection and bought him some fine wine. Now the Dylans are grey nomads, off to see Australia. Bob threw his old guitar in the back of the camper trailer. And one night around the campfire, after a lot of rearranging, Bob calls, hey Mary, listen to this. It's called The Times They Are a Change. Mary said, shut up, Bob, and get in the van. Now, I did the harmonica on this one too. Way back in the early 80s, I found myself living in the Laurel Canyon of the Australian music scene. I was living in St Kilda in Melbourne, and a little flat there, just off Ackland Street, the main street there. And just up the road was James Black, and from Mondo Rock, JJ Hackett, the drummer, he was from Adelaide too. Around the corner, the bloke from the Sports, Cummings, Steve Cummings, he was just down the road. The bloke from the Models was in the next street up. Paul Kelly was just up the road. So there's musicians everywhere, and they used to drop into my place and ask me for hints on songwriting and stuff, you know. But there was also a lot of drugs around that area too, and that's possibly why a lot of the aforementioned were living there. But after a while, you know, my musical career was going so well that I took a job delivering groceries in my van in the local area. I used to deliver groceries to all these famous musicians too. But this is a true story. It's a sad one, but this is what happened to me one day when I was delivering, and it's the every word of this song is true. I turned my van into Hotham Street to make the same delivery on the same day of the week. I pulled up at the flats of number 5, and I heard a cry I remember all my life. Help me, she arrived a few minutes later. They took one look at his arms. One of them looked at me, sadly shook his head. He said, "Sorry, boy, but this one is dead." I went back to the flats the next week and spoke with the caretaker about the boy who she said had gone to meet his maker. She said his brothers came down from the country the other day and cleared all his things away. They put all he owned in the boot of a car. Then they drove away. Help me, she cried. I think my friend has died. Help me, she cried. I think my friend has died. Help me, she cried. My friend has died. Help me, she cried. My friend has died. Thanks very much. Now it strikes me, going past across the Hay Plains, that perhaps only people in Adelaide know about the Hay Plains, unless you live in Deniliquin or Hay, you know, because whenever we want to go to Sydney, we have to drive over the Hay Plains, but the people from Sydney never come here. And if you live in Melbourne, you go up the Hume Highway and stuff. So drove across there quite a few times, you know, playing in bands and things. And I found there's only one way to cure the Hay Plain blues, and that's go across the Nullarbor a few times. But anyway, the last time I went across the Hay Plains, this song sort of seeped into my mind on the way over. I drove all the way to Sydney in the middle of the night. When I went through Penrith, it started getting light. In that narrow street in Newtown, outside that front door, finally got through to me. I couldn't do this anymore. So I turned around and drove back from where I came, fighting with the sun on that wide empty plain, with the Hay Plain blues. Just drive on through, don't turn around, don't turn around. That was years and years ago. I tried not to think about it much. There are a lot of good reasons to fall out of touch. But I just got a call, so I'm going back again. This time I'm driving to farewell an old friend. With the Hay Plain blues, just drive on through. Don't look back. Don't look back. There's a lot of sky to see. An eagle drifting way up in the air. Trying to find a tree with the hay playing blues. The hay playing blues. The hay playing blues. Well, it was more important years ago than it is now, but you know, it was because it was so expensive to make records, to record them and then press the LPs and that. You pretty much had to have a record contract. And over the years, I've had a few dud ones and had a lot of conversations with record company executives, and usually they, when they find out from Adelaide, they make a little bit of small talk and. Because they don't want to let me down roughly, but they're not interested. And so I knew when that started to happen, oh yeah, I went to Adelaide once, nice place. I was stuffed, you know, because you've got to really pitch yourself to them, you know, well, the greatest band, you know, and blah, blah, blah. But anyway, I've rolled all those conversations into this song called Conversation with the Man from EMI. Nice wine there, yes I know. Yep, Donny Dunstan and the Adelaide Crows. I'm a singer-songwriter, guitarist. Come on, you must need more of those. I've played pubs and clubs and halls. I've done the market and the mall. I played all 4 gigs they've got there 100 times or more. I've done them all before. I'm a legend in Adelaide. They love that song, they're the one I just played for you. They love me down in Rogue, and they're gonna fly me up to Roxby Downs. There's a lot of weird murders there, so they say. But you don't really notice it much day to day. I play the Wheat Sheep on a Friday, and sometimes the Grace Emily. We've rocked the big room at the Gov. Filled that place with a lot of love. And the comrades call for more whenever we play down at Semaphore. I'm a legend in Adelaide. I made the charts there and I get played on a community radio station where the announcer is no relation. But I'm not yet a star. Sign me up and we'll go far. I'll go everywhere. I'll go anywhere. But please don't send me back there. we could work the system and get a grant. You just bend over and drop your pants. Dream up some weird marketing plan. And some RSA bureaucrat hands you 10 grand. It's a 20-minute city, that's all it takes to get around. But don't be mistaken, this ain't no pissant town. We got the kids of 500 and the tour down under, and we love to hate Sam Newman. You can go for a drive in the LA hills. You can go for a drive in the LA hills. Just tell them you're from Melbourne and you've got it made. I've been on the ABC. They played 2 minutes of my song that goes for 3. I'm an icon, a treasure, that's what they say. But I'm really just some old turd they can't flush away. But I'm a legend. I just don't know. Is this the best time? Is this the worst time? Is it the last time? Or is it the first time? Is it part time? Or maybe it's full time? I just don't know. I just don't know. Is this a good day? Is it a bad day? Is it a holy day? Or just a sad day? Maybe it's payday, or maybe it's doomsday. I just don't know. I just don't know. They're all out there talking like they're experts, and they've been told just exactly what to say. While we're down here being trickled down on, we're just getting through day to day. We're just making it through day by day. Is this a freeway? Maybe a highway? Is it a roadway? Or just a pathway? Is it a doorway? Or is it a hallway? I just don't know. I just don't know. They're all up there telling me they know the answers. And everybody down here is telling me, oh no, Donnie, they're wrong. Got my head spinning round like some sort of crazy dancer. And I just don't know what's going on. No, I just don't know what's going on. I just don't know. I just don't know. I just don't know. I just don't know.
Song about not knowing there.
What was that song about?
I don't know.
Yeah, I got introduced. Actually, I did that song at a
Mum.
Scala competition a while back, and they introduced me, and they, made a little splurge about me, and then they said, "Now, what are you going to do for us tonight, Don?" And I said, "Oh, I just don't know." Yeah, it was a bit difficult there for a little bit, but...
I thought you were having like a nervous break.
Yeah, that's right. Anyway, went all right. Oh, yeah. Well, I saw an old friend in a fancy car as she went driving by. She was more than a friend in days gone by. I looked down at my shoes and I wondered why. Then I heard an old song come on the radio I had not heard for years. It was an old song I had not heard for years. Well, it took me back, could not hide my tears. So don't look back, don't look back. You might hang your head and cry if you look back. Well, the road is long, stretches way on ahead. It's a long, long road, stretching right on ahead. Gives you too much time, think about those things you said. So don't look back, don't look back. You might hang your head and cry if you look back. Don't look back, don't look back. You might hang your head and cry if you look back. So don't look back, don't look back. You might hang your head and cry if you look back. Now here's another, this is a true story, sort of. Childhood. I know that I don't look old enough to have been around in 1966. But maybe I just did the, change the words to fit the anyway. But well, the rats were big as rabbits in 1966. They came in from the paddock and they chewed Mum's garden to bits. I thought maybe I could catch one and make something with its fur. Well, then we went to town and saw the film Ben-Hur. So I built a small chariot with the wheels for my sister's pram. All the uncles started laughing when I told them about my plan. They said, "Good luck, boy, we hope you succeed. How many rats to pull that thing you think you're gonna need? Well, I could get away with 4, but I really wanted 6. I was gonna rope them all together and teach them to do tricks. We'd roll around the neighborhood at fantastic speed. Those rats would pull me faster than any racing steed. Old Pop come down from Broken Hill and helped me build a trap. We built a pretty big one because I wanted the biggest rats. He said, don't let the dog out, boy, they'll eat all the bait. And you'll have to be patient and wait and wait and wait and wait and wait. And wait. And wait. Well, I waited and I waited, buried in the grass. I started to worry about the rats chewing at my ass. I could hear all the other kids playing in the street, but the only time I left my post is when I had to eat. Well, the holidays were ending and the cousins came down to stay. I got a bit distracted and the rats just went away. I was enrolled in Morrisons Brothers starting in a week, so I went back to catching yabbies and playing cricket in the street. Then Dad put the wheels back on my sister's pram, and one of the uncles went off to some place called Vietnam. None of that worried me, because I had the best plan of all. We were going to hike all the way to Morrisons, and we were going to find the mythical Third Falls. Decimal currency in 1966. Ron the Tank Knee Bones, McGarry Medal, 1966. The Rat Plague of 1966. Okay, let's do One Day. That's the deep one. Okay, now this next song is I sort of came about the lyrics from scratching around in old abandoned and run-down houses, because my day job is making guitars, and I make these metal-bodied resonator guitars sometime, and a while ago I started making them out of old sheets of corrugated iron that I could find and roll flat and stuff. And when you're digging around, you know, you see little bits of history, you know, in the corner and under the rubble and so forth. And this particular house is a guitar is made out from my grandparents' house in Broken Hill, where I spent a lot of time up there. And I remember that you know, we were playing cricket out in the dusty backyard in Broken Hill, and my pop, he wasn't allowed to drink in the house. My Grandma Min, she was only tiny, 5 foot tall, but she ran a very strict household, and Pop wasn't allowed to drink inside, and he was only allowed to go to pub a couple of times a week anyway. Anyway, the cricket ball rolled up the back of this dark shed, and I went up there and found it, and there was old Pop sitting at a table drinking a beer. And he said, "Oh, don't you tell your grandmother I'm in here. I'm making her a surprise." And so, yeah. So I went back there a while back, and it's all run down. It's empty, you know, and falling down. And so, like I said, I grabbed sheets, corrugated iron out of the shed, and the necks made out of some old skirting boards that were falling off, and got a bit of a foundation stump that had fallen out, iron bark there. So I made this guitar.
Oh,
Right, now, forgot what we were doing. This song's called One Day. One day I'll be rusting, possums in the roof, pigeons in the kitchen, floorboards coming loose, the porch out the front has long since blown away. There was nothing there to shelter anyway. One day the old dog's grave will be erased by time, replaced by a fading keep outside. Old sheets of iron lying on the ground, sheds and shelters falling down. But once there was a garden with fruit on the vine, there was a band on the veranda with dancing and wine. Once there was a wedding out on the back lawn. Once a little child was born. I've been renovated, I've been bought and sold, I've been advertised as charming, an investment one should hold. A renovator's dream, then land value only. Now, no one seems to own me. But once there was a swing set, kites flying in the breeze. Once there were little children climbing in the trees. I've seen 1,000 goals kicked and many overs bowled. But now, I'm just old. One day I'll be empty, standing all alone. Anyone that knew me, long since dead or gone. One day I'll be leaning, wind howling through the door. No one knows my story anymore. Thanks very much. Let's do the open road. I got the idea for this song. I was crossing the Nullarbor, as I mentioned before, curing myself from the Hay Plain Blues. And, you know, the big galah at Kimber, the cockatoo. Anyway, there was European backpacker couple were sitting forlornly by the side of the van that they it was obviously broken down, and they were just sitting there beside the cockatoo waiting for some help, and sort of got the idea for this song from that event. And I never thought, actually on the way back went through Kimber again, never thought I'd see Kimber as like outer suburbs of Adelaide. It's so long to go, but they drove in silence for most of the day. Empty horizon, not much to say. Then she said, "It's empty." He agreed that was true. No phone reception, nothing they could do. So many things are closed on the open road. So they sat and waited beside the van, alone and tiny in this wide empty land, hoping that someone would help them on their way. But the road ahead was empty, and the past too far away. So many things are closed on the open road. Yeah, so many things are closed on the open road. Distance, but he drove right by, didn't even look sideways. Who knows why? They saw the sticker on his back screen, a map of Australia with love it or leave. Ah, so many things are closed on the open road. Yeah, so many things are closed on the open road. Thank you. Now, the next song, called 5 Men in a Car, and it's based on when I was back in this band called the Bodgies in the 80s, and we'd do stuff like we'd work here and then we'd drive across to Melbourne, do 7 nights a week for 2 weeks there, go up to Sydney, do 7 nights a week for 2 weeks there, finish at the Mansell Room in King's Cross at 4 a.m, hop in the car and drive down to Melbourne for a gig the next day. And we did more gigs in those couple of years than most of the other big bands. I mean, I looked up the records and we were way ahead of them, but nobody had ever heard of us because we didn't have a hit song on the radio. And so I've written all about it in this rollicking biography, This Could Be Big, 40 years at the dag end of the Australian music industry. And this is the second edition, actually. And sometimes I'm asked to, it just so happens I've got a few copies for sale here tonight too. So. But sometimes I'm asked to sum it up in a few words, and I just say, 5 men in a car. We're going somewhere, we'll get there. It's 4 a.m. and we're still hours away. There's only trucks and us on this giant highway. Ooh, 5 men in a car. we've been here before. Maybe. Now I'm not sure, but it looks the same as the place before. Now it's my turn to drive. It's my turn to drive. On and on, on and on, on and on and on. The oil light comes on, outside none true. If we break down out here, not sure what we'll do. A roadhouse food near Gundagai could be Horsham or Hay, Lismore or Yass or Narrabri. Oh, thanks very much. Now, we've got to introduce Jake Morrison on the guitar. Eddie Morrison on the bass. Andy Przgonski on the drums.
Ladies and gentlemen, the man of the hour, the man with the power, too sweet to be sour, prettier than a flower, the man with the largest charms, the most arms, who does the most harm. Too hot to handle, too cold to hold. He lifts barbell plates, he eats steaks, he's sweeter than a German chocolate cake. Mr.
We just put up with 2 hours of Eddie's bass playing for that introduction. That was great. Okay, we're going to finish off tonight. Thanks very much for coming out. I hope you all have a good Christmas and stuff, or at least don't get too pissed. Anyway, I'm going to do a song sort of about years and years ago when I was barely 20 years old, and I went backpacking in Europe, and I didn't know where I was going, what I was doing, and why I was there, but I got around in freezing cold weather on my motorcycle, and I won't go into the story now because we're running late, but this one's called Pat Malone. I was traveling in a foreign town when a stranger flagged me down. I was lost and far from home when I first met Pat Malone. After a while, we went our separate ways, and for many years he disappeared, never leaving a trace. Then in a crowded bar, I was drinking alone. He said, "Remember me, I'm Pat Malone." He brings no comfort, he brings no cheer. That's just the way it is when he's here. But when the nights are long, there's nothing else to do but drink with Pat Malone. I've known him now for many years, and we have shared 1,000 beers, but I could not call him a friend. He's just someone I see now and then. He brings no comfort, he brings no cheer. That's just the way it is when he's here. But when the nights are long, there's nothing else to do but drink with Pat Malone. He brings no comfort, he brings no cheer. That's just the way it is when he's here. But when the nights are long, there's nothing else to do but drink with Pat Malone. Oh, when the nights are long, there's nothing else to do but drink with Pat Malone. Thank you very much. Hope you have a good Christmas.
I think we're back at Easter. Easter Sunday. See you all back.
That's right, death and rebirth, that's what we're all about.